Good morning, world. Good afternoon, world. It's a moment past noon here in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. And today is the 3rd of July. We got the big July 4 tomorrow. It's our episode number 73 of Grit and Good News. And we are broadcasting live. And that's what happens when you're going live from our palatial downtown second story studio in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. And we got our man Sam is on screen right now,
Big butt. Here, Sam, what's this thing? How does that work?
ably taking care of Scott's minor miscue.
Sorry, everybody.
It's
Okay,
all good.
there we
And
go.
to my right is the ever capable, your friend and mine. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce our host. And are you ready for it? Scott Brooks.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Sorry, Uncle Nick, I knocked you over. Anyway, thank you for being here. Oh, the mic, yes, that would be helpful. Today is Thursday. Sammy, this book is gonna fall and fall and fall. But anyway,
Is that
thank
a
you.
bad omen for
No,
Alabama?
no,
Oh, look
heck,
out.
no, no. I just printed out the
Mm.
schedule this morning. We are ready, rocking and ready to go. Thank you for being here. Today is Thursday. We didn't have a show on Tuesday. We've been working sun up to sundown, burning the midnight candle, as they say, or midnight oil.
Oil.
We've been back and forth to Oklahoma, and I want to tell you all about that here in just a little bit.
We meaning you and Sam. I'm
Me and
not part
Sammy,
of the
yeah,
we.
Jeff didn't go. Sammy and I were up in Oklahoma, and I'm excited to be able to share with you what we were doing there. It's very important work. We feel it is, and a number of other people do as well. But I want to tell you about that in just a second. But thank you for being here. We do this show every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 1 o'clock Texas Standard Time, which should be the time for a whole world. We live in the greatest state in the whole world. Although I will tell you now, even to those, well, I'm not a Texas or an Oklahoma fan. I'm an Alabama fan, as you all know. But I really enjoyed Oklahoma, and although we were there we were there about less than 24 hours, but we packed in a lot of stuff. So anyway, today is our 73rd show.
You got it.
Do you have any numbers, or
I
we
got a
are
couple
okay?
numbers.
Let's
Yeah.
hear them. Let's hear them.
All right. They're heavily skewed towards the offensive and defensive line. We
Yeah,
got Ron Yeri on the O line for the Vikings. He's
yeah,
in the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
We got Larry Allen, a beast for Dallas.
Stud,
Stud.
one of our favorites. He died at age 51,
Just
5 or 6
recently.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had John Hanna, a lineman for Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
And we had Joe Plecko on the D line
yeah.
for the
For the
Jets.
Jets. Yeah.
Uh, Nobody significant in hockey, and one basketball player. I'll give you a clue. He played for the Mavericks. He played for the Lakers. He played for the Bulls. I saw a fourth uniform. He only wore the 73 for two teams.
Not
Won't
Boban.
no.
That was our man, wasn't it, Sammy?
I'll give you another clue.
Yeah.
He's got a daughter. It's a big time soccer player. I think she's on the U.S. national team.
I have no idea.
I'll give you another clue. His nickname was, and you better get it on this, the Worm,
Dennis Rodman?
Dennis the Worm Rodman.
I don't remember him wearing 73. I
I
think
saw
there's
the
something
pic.
with our
I
source
saw
here.
the picture of him in his jersey. Pull it
That is
up.
so wow. I'm
Yes,
with
I
you.
saw. I
Yeah.
saw four jerseys, and two of them were 73, Lakers
That
and
is
Mavs.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah, the worm, that's one way of putting it.
well, that was
He
his
was
nickname.
yeah, I know. He was wormy. He was swarmy.
Am I correct? I know I'm correct. 1 year he won the Sixth Man Award, which is a
Yeah.
great award,
Yeah. And
um,
probably Defensive Player of the Year
and
award.
probably Defensive Player of the Year.
Rebound of the year.
He
I
could
mean, he
just dominate the
yeah,
boards.
he ended up well, he
Listen to
was
me
always
talking hoops.
weird, but he's yeah,
Yeah.
listen to you. Speaking of hoops, we got a couple of updates we want to talk about. How about the Mavs? We haven't talked to you all since the uh thank you, Hussar. I'm glad you did. We haven't seen you in a long time.
Come by more.
Hope all is well. But the draft was last Thursday, right, Sam? Last Thursday night?
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
And so we haven't been here to talk about it. Cooper Flag went #1 to the Mavericks. You think that was coincidence or is that rigged?
It looks rigged, but uh, it's fine because now I'm good with Nico.
Yeah.
You
Are
know,
you
like
more on the Mavs now than when they had Luca or
Yeah, just cause like I feel like I'm starting from like I saw Cooper get drafted. I'm a Mavs
yeah.
fan right now, so yeah,
And
I'm excited for it.
Sammy's got a birthday on the 23rd of this month. Jeff's got a birthday on the 12th. And so Sammy, I asked him on our trip, I said, okay, tell me what you want for your birthday. And he said, a Cooper jersey.
Cooper
That's
jersey.
all I want.
So,
I like that.
yeah, number
He didn't
32,
pick, he didn't
right?
pick a cheap thing either because he
Yeah,
ain't gonna get you just some ratty
No,
old
I'm not gonna
T-shirt.
get you some,
Yeah,
black market shirt with rips
yeah,
in it.
right.
and I can put it next to my lovely Steph Curry jersey. So
Oh Lord. Uh, but number 32 is the number
looks
Cooper
real.
Flag will wear. The Mavs are stout now. I still feel bad for Luca in the sense that he was mistreated. I don't feel bad for him in any other sense, but it's almost now Luca who?
Right.
And I saw Nico Harrison after the draft. They were in their draft room, whether that was in Brooklyn or here in Dallas, but they were like pigs in slop, smiling and jovial and thrilled. And I mean, it's amazing how a draft can change the whole direction.
Yeah, Chuck. I mean, believe it or not, I mean he put together a great team after
Oh,
that.
he loves Nico now.
Yeah,
No,
and,
I mean I
and
would say I love, but I mean if you look at our team, I can't name every player, but if you go look at our projected lineup, it is
Well,
scary.
here's an interesting thing. I told Sammy the other day, and I don't know where I got this, but I said if you so we know what number Luca was, right? 77. So if you add
oh
the
boy,
following players, I'm going to give you four players. They'll be starters. If you add Cooper, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and what was the other one? Um,
Derek Lively
no,
the
it was
second.
one. I
I
don't know if
mean,
it was Gafford or Lively, but if you add up, see if you can find it on your text,
all their
Sammy.
jersey
I
numbers.
texted it
What's
to
it
you.
come to?
What do you think it comes to? 77.
77.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It'd be more cool if it was a starting five,
yeah, starting
but
five, but it was Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving. Uh, who else did I say?
it's Clay Thompson.
Thompson, and
Yeah,
who was the fourth one?
that was the fourth one. Cooper,
Oh yeah,
AD, Clay,
and Kyrie.
Kyrie.
Add them up, and that comes to 77. I thought
Right.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, good team if they stay healthy. That's what we're talking about. And actually, Sammy was reading something from some NBA insider when we're coming back from Oklahoma on Tuesday, or maybe you told me yesterday, but that he was saying Luca, something's about to happen that makes Luca look like,
The Luka trade,
cat's meow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing happened so far. I mean, LeBron is in, talks. We got Damian Lillard.
LeBron's already signed a 1 year deal for 52 million.
I know, but he didn't accept something, and I think he's still
Uh,
eligible to be
traded.
traded or signed or
Well,
something
my guess is if there's something bigger than Luca, it's going to be Giannis
to the Warriors.
to Dallas for Anthony Davis and another star from Dallas. That's what I think is going to happen.
Anthony
Anyway,
Davis with the great nickname Street Clothes
Anthony Davis. Oh well, yeah,
for
that's
for
right. I thought you were
for
talking about
for for
the
not being able to play in a whole lot of
what do they
games.
call Giannis? The Greek freak,
The Greek
right? Yeah.
Freak.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like it.
So there you have it for the Mavs. It won't be long before they get started. And then on the Stars side, which is Jeff's wheelhouse, they have a new coach, and I don't know how to say. Sammy was butchering his name the other day.
It's not that hard. Glenn Gulletzen, Gulletzen,
See,
um, and he's got an interesting background. He had a head coaching job early in his career. He coached the Stars in their terrible days when Tom Hicks was juggling a baseball team and a hockey team and not doing a really good job at either one.
what years?
Like 12, 13. And
Well, that's that. 12 was one of the years that the Rangers went to the World Series.
yeah, and but he
Yeah,
didn't know anything about hockey.
yeah.
So they had a winning record, like 64 and 55 or something. They didn't make the playoff either year. Jim Neal was brand new
Yeah.
as general manager, and he canned them. And then he went to Vancouver. He coached the Sedin twins.
He canned this guy,
Yeah,
Gulitson.
he canned him after 2 years. He was an assistant coach at Vancouver. He got a head coach job at Calgary. He was there for 2 years, and they didn't make the playoffs. And then he took a job with Edmonton as an assistant in 18, and he took the worst power play team in the league and turned them into the best. And he had obviously Connor McDavid
Hmm.
and Draisaitl, and he the word is he knows how to handle superstars,
Yeah,
but he knows how to deal with the guys that get 8 minutes a game. And
good.
he uh, he made a nice little joke at the press conference. He said, I never told you this, Jim, when we were negotiating, but uh, so bear in mind he's up in Edmonton, uh, who has been in the Stanley Cup playoffs the last
Yeah,
2 years, got to Game 7 both times. So
right.
he's been around success. He said, my daughter signed a letter of intent to play JUCO softball down in Hillsboro.
Oh,
So
wow.
so when this came up, I really did want to come to Texas.
Very good. Cool.
Um,
Well, he knows what the marching orders. I mean, he's following a guy that went to two Western Conference Finals in a row and lost both, and then gets canned. Right.
right.
So it's not. I mean, the objective is the very top period. I mean, it is for everybody, but in this case, it's not being happy with
Or
the.
was it three?
It might be three.
I
Yeah, it
think
might
it
be
was three.
three.
And the other thing that goes hand in hand with that, right after that, the next day, they signed a guy who I kind of thought they might give the head coach job to, Neil Graham, who was the coach of the Texas Stars in Cedar Park, which if you ever get a chance, my buddy Hockey Jeff and I, some years ago, back in my single days, we made about 5 or 6 trips down there to watch the minor league
Yeah,
team,
it's fun.
and it's a great arena.
Yeah,
It's in Cedar Park,
those guys are
and
crazy.
so this Neil Graham is coached Ottinger.
Yeah,
He coached all the guys who are a young core.
yeah,
So
yeah. He
that's
did.
all good.
Minor league hockey's fun because those dudes are, I mean, literally scratching and fighting their way to the big
Yeah.
house, big leagues, and so lots of fun. Sammy Chuck says something about.
Yeah, I want to respond to that
All
real
right.
quick. Yeah, Chuck, I'm very happy about that because I don't know if you watched in 2023 when Red Bull and Max Verstappen virtually won every single race. So seeing Max kind of struggle and letting these other people win is it's more entertaining to me. So
Yeah.
And
Well.
a great comment here, Chuck, but that our new coach really
Yeah.
wants to stress
It's physical.
physicality, and that they said that was one of the other undoings about DeBoer
Yeah.
when when Rupe Hintz got chopped
All right. And nobody came
by
out.
Nurse. The word was, and this isn't a made up word. The word was he told the guys, no, we don't retaliate. And then he comes back after missing 1 or 2 games,
Yeah. And
and
get.
somebody else hammers him on his
Yeah.
foot, who nobody knew was broken.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
as a coach, I'd say get him. Um, the last Friday night, my wife and I, Sonia, and I took Sammy and Kennedy uh, to see the Formula One race. I recommend to anybody, even if you're not, movie. I'm sorry, the movie, not the race, but the movie. We went to the B&B movie theater in Red Oak, which is a nice place until it gets destroyed. But anyway, the movie was excellent, lots of fun. It was 2.5 hours, but it didn't feel like
uh,
it. Loud. We were in that room with the surround sound and big screen. It was a lot of fun. And then the next night, Saturday night, Sonia and I watched Ford versus Ferrari with Matt Damon. So Friday night it was Formula One with Brad Pitt and Javier Bardem or something like. He played in Old Men, so,
no,
No Country for Old Men, something like that. But they were excellent in that movie. And the Ford versus Ferrari is another excellent movie. So Sammy and Kennedy have to watch that. But we had a lot of fun in at that movie. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
very cool.
So we're going to start today. I'm going to give you a 10-minute version. Jeff and Sammy can weigh in where they want to uh, about the Hannah Dillard story. We started telling the story about 2 months ago. We were made aware of a case of a young lady who at the time was 28, 29, I think, 28, who had been traveling all over the world as a volunteer uh, nurse, medic nurse, mercy ship nurse. She was in Cameroon, Uganda, Togo, all these God forbidden places in the world to help specifically children. She was a pediatric nurse, so she was helping children born deformed and who had all kinds of orthopedic injuries. Her name is Hannah Dillard. She's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got word of this case. It was tried here in Ellis County because Hannah came home one evening, October the 17th, 2021. She came home from overseas. She rushed to a birthday party for her dad in Dallas. They had all come down to be with her. She had just broken up with a boyfriend who lived here in Waxahachie. She was tired, upset, blah, blah, blah. There is no excuse for drinking and driving. I'll be the first to say that. So, in no way has Hannah even herself ever asked for any degree of what, like it's no big deal. It's a big deal to her, and I will tell you that to date, she has paid in restitution as a result of this accident, $1.3 million. But at her dad's party. Her dad's now 79, almost to 80. So they had the party. Hannah was breaking up or having relationship problems with her boyfriend who lived in Waxahachie. So she decided to drive from Dallas, downtown Dallas, to Waxahachie. She had loaded up on wine coolers, several of them, and was drunk and well over the limit. And she came to Waxahachie. She pulled into the Quick Trip over on Busher Road, got back out on what she thought was I-35 South, but what she didn't know was I-35 North, and she was going south. She was coming
It
to the
is a
main
little
exit.
screwy over there too.
She was coming to the main exit here in Waxahachie, exit 403. But as is likely to be the case when you drink and drive, you're going to have an accident. She hit a car of 5 students, SMU students, uh, head on. All 5 were injured. Hannah was injured. One of those young people was injured rather significantly. All of them have overcome their injuries. The one that was injured the most lives in Chicago now and is still dealing with her injuries. Hannah was arrested and booked. She was then on bond for 4 years. She then went to trial in September of 2021. She was represented by a firm in Dallas and here in Ellis County. She was tried by people that are friends of mine, and yeah, the judge, the prosecutors, the DA, although that DA it turned out not to be a friend of mine, but people I know. And so Hannah was tried after a 3-day trial. It was handed to the jury on a Friday evening. Within 15 to 20 minutes, they came back with a guilty verdict. Well, she had already pled guilty, so there was a punishment kind of trial phase kind of trial. And the prosecution asked for 12 years. The prosecution had offered a 4-year plea deal. Hannah and her family did not know about that plea deal, so we've got a civil rights constitutional issue here. They did not know about that. Whether they would have taken it, I don't know, but it's likely they would have thought long and hard about a 4-year plea deal. Even though the comparative, much like you buying a house, you look at the comps. So when you look at similar cases, or even worse cases than Hannah, meaning that it was a multi-time person that had committed the offense, had been drinking, driving other times, had other accidents. So we compared it to all those. There were fatalities. We compared it to, in this case, Hannah was a first-time offender. There were no fatalities. And so we took all this information and said, well, was this sentence to Hannah fair, 12-year sentence? It isn't fair. And in no form or fashion is it fair if you use the comparative trials in this state and in states across the country. If you all remember Ethan Couch was a young man who in the Metroplex 12 years ago now, was driving drunk, hit 4 people, killed all 4 of them, then injured, I want to say 5 to 8 more people in that event, that accident, that wreck. He was given 10 years probation. We have
And his defense was
the affluenza defense, meaning that
affluenza.
he was so wealthy, his family was so wealthy that he didn't make any connection to responsibility and
A defense we've
that kind
never
of.
heard and it
Well,
worked.
it did work. Hey Terry, good to have you, bud. So Hannah was then put on trial. Oh, she pled guilty, no question about that. She agreed to all this money paid out uh, to these folks. She has in prison. She has continued her ministry of teaching people about Christ. She has uh, she has become the lead tutor in helping women in prison get their GEDs for the state of Oklahoma. That prison, because she was in prison here in Texas, transferred up near Tulsa so she could be closer to her ailing parents because they were driving from Tulsa, Austin on Saturdays. That's a long haul, and
You got to
it took
go all the way through OKC,
yeah, you
all
got
the way
through
through
Dallas,
Dallas, and
yeah.
then
And
go
so they
through
moved
Austin,
her.
Texas.
There's an interstate agreement between Oklahoma and Texas where that kind of thing can happen. So Hannah was moved up there so her parents can be closer to her. Within an hour, they can be there. But the case jurisdiction still rests here in Ellis County. But putting aside my relationships, positive relationships with the people involved, and that would be current DA now is Linda Beatty, who has to deal with this. I endorsed her last year. Grace Pandithurai, who was the prosecutor then, who's now the judge in the same courtroom. She took over for Cindy Ermatinger, who retired. Grace and I have been friends for quite some time. The co-prosecutor was named Sherry Roeder. Sherry's a smart, talented prosecutor, but putting that aside, this is wrong, and both on a constitutional civil rights issue and it's on a moral ethical issue. It's dead wrong. The reason, as I asked when I met with the DA and the two prosecutors for 2 hours about a month ago, I wanted to know why. One, let me show you this. I've read every word, frontwards and backwards, of the transcript of that trial. There it all is, 202 pages. I've made copious notes. I mean, I've took it on like I was, trying to pass my college to be able to graduate college. I was that serious about it. And so I met with them and I said, just help me understand a number of things. One of which was we were under the impression, I was, that it was an 8-year plea deal that had been offered to Hannah and that she rejected that 8-year plea deal because her attorneys believed she was going to get probation because all these other cases, the vast majority of all these other cases get probation. All right. So when I said to the prosecutors and to the DA, well, I know about the 8-year plea deal. One of the prosecutors starts shaking her head no, pretty dramatically. And I wasn't mean. I mean, I care about people, but I was stern. I said, why are you shaking your head? And she said, because we didn't offer her an 8-year plea deal. We offered her a 4-year plea deal. Well, again, as I just mentioned, none of the family, the attorneys, as far as I know, were double checking all that, didn't know about a 4-year plea deal. So the ultimate question was, well, okay, if 4 years was enough for you to offer her a deal for this offense, but she didn't know about it, but you assumed, I guess, that she rejected it, and so you went for the throw. So why 12 years? Well, I was made to believe in pre conversations prior to the meeting that it was the jury who, after hearing everything, watching Hannah on the case, listening to her dad testify, both of whom I'm told the jury didn't like, and neither did the prosecutors, regardless of what they might say, that the jury just came up with, well, 12 years is what she deserved. Again, so far out of scope, it's not even funny. Henry Ruggs, who, speaking of Alabama, was a star wide receiver at Bama, then at the Raiders, was driving 156 miles an hour down the streets of Las Vegas about 3 or 4 years ago. Rear at 1 a.m, stone cold drunk, rear-ended a young lady and her dog in their car, a Forerunner or something like that, and it blew up and burned them both alive. Uh, he got 10 years and is eligible for parole next month. So he's been in prison 3 years. My guess is he's going to be paroled. I'm making that prediction. And so Hannah's got 12 years. And even though I've got the answer, and I'm going to tell you what it is as to why going from 4 to 12, uh, I it it's offensive an electorate, as a voter, as a citizen of our county. I am over the top offended and angry that anyone who accepts full guilt, has made full restitution, who has exhausted every possible thing in the prison system in terms of rehabilitation. She's taken every class available to her. She's leading Bible studies. Her family bought microwaves for the prison so these women could have food and comfort and all that, to the extent that they're in prison, whatever comfort you can get there. I didn't understand and I don't, but here's what I was told when I asked why 4 and then 12. Well, the prosecutors recommended 12. One, because this is my opinion on this part, is that like most prosecutors who make a plea deal that is rejected by the defendant, the prosecutors, I think it's human nature to say, okay, well, hold my beer. We'll show you what that means. So we're gonna get a heavier, more tough sentence. I think that's in play. Number two, again, Hannah and her family didn't know about this plea deal, so there was really no. I mean, I don't know how it happens that someone doesn't know about the plea deal, and that the assumption is by the prosecution that it was rejected. The prosecution then goes for the throat. Um, I'm also told that the jury and primarily the jury didn't like Hannah because she didn't apologize the way they thought that she should. She was snarky on the witness stand, blah blah blah. Mr. Dillard, who's almost 80, quoted scriptures on the witness stand. I can tell you, having read every piece of this, that what I read the transcript, there was no Bible thumping from the stand. Um, None. But and then of course how they painted Hannah. I've watched prosecutors paint the defendant in a case as as the most evil person on the planet.
Right.
This is a young lady who had served all over this world as a Christian missionary medic and done so much good in her life. They painted her as something totally different, the prosecutors did, and the jury fell for it. So the jury comes back with 12 years.
And
Yeah,
everybody, you can hear the passion in this man's voice, and it has been consuming him really for the last 6 to 8 weeks that he's been involved in this. And he goes through the steps that you would go through of arranging to meet with the key people, and he goes nowhere. And then let's talk about how you go from that to go to
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma and meet with the
Yeah.
governor.
Again, I want to make this quick so that I don't bore anybody, but it had languished out there, this thing, for the past year. The governor of Oklahoma, again, that's where Hannah is, in at Eddie Warrior Prison, just south of Tulsa. So it's under the governor's purview. The parole board reports to him. And so the Dillards who live in Tulsa and are politically astute reached out a year ago uh, to the governor of Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt, and Kevin got involved, tried to reach out to Abbott. It didn't go anywhere. So it's been languishing for a year. We get informed of it, as Jeff said, about 4 months ago, and it became clear to us that we got to use our clout and our influence to make something happen. And it started happening with stories, 3-part stories, then 2 columns. Anyway, so we end up with an opportunity. We along our team. So when I say our team, I'm talking about us, the Dillards, Oklahoma/Houston attorneys now, reached out to the governor's office in Oklahoma and asked for a private meeting. We were given that private meeting, and it happened Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. So as my son, I wanted Sammy to go with me and to just witness it all and be. He ended up not being necessarily just a fly on the wall, but I wanted him to just have the experience of what it means to sit down with the governor. How do governors act? What do they look like, sound like? That sort of thing. So we had a nearly an hour long meeting on Tuesday morning with Governor Stitt, his 2 attorneys, and it was a very healthy conversation. And that conversation was basically to say that Hannah cannot be her sentence again, which is so far out of line. Oh, and let me tell you real quick, prosecutors asked for 12 years from the jury because anything less than 10 years, the defendant is eligible for parole. All right. At any point during that 10 years. So Ethan Couch got 10 years probation, but you hear often about sentences that are suspended and you get probation. So less than 10 in the state of Texas, you're eligible for probation. 10 years and 1 day over, you're not eligible for probation. So the prosecutors asked for 12 years, knowing full well that Hannah would not be eligible for parole. When you're not eligible for, or pardon, I'm sorry, or parole. When you're not eligible for parole, you got to serve half, minimally. You got to serve half. Hannah now, as of September, will be 4 years. So she's got if nothing happens, she's got 2 more years before she will be paroled. And then if this sick, sorry attitude continues about wanting to bury Hannah, then she may not get the opportunity for parole. She'll have the opportunity, but may have been not granted. So we go up to Governor Stitt's office. Let me just tell you about Governor Stitt. Governor Stitt is a 50-year-old man. He's now I believe, the chair of the Governors Association of the country. Uh, he is handsome, sharp, articulated, dad of 6, Oklahoma State guy, was the former chairman, CEO of Gateway Mortgage Company worldwide. But now he's been the governor. He's about to term out next year, so they have a 2-term limit. Texas has no limit. So we spent this guy, Kevin, knew what he was talking about, and so did his attorneys. They asked questions. They said to us it's on top of their priority list. Mr. Dillard specifically asked the governor, Governor Stitt, if he would serve as the conduit for us to get time with Governor Abbott. Governor Stitt said absolutely. He's going to write letters. He's going to make a call. Uh, Mr. Dillard specifically asked Governor Stitt if this were in the state of Oklahoma, if Hannah, the case, not Hannah physically, but in addition to being there physically, the case was there, would he parole her? And he said absolutely, or pardon her. I don't know what the proper word is, but he would set her free because in September, as I just mentioned, she will have served 4 years. So we have that, which is what the prosecution has said they offered. We have that. We have the element of Hannah's aging parents, and her mom and dad are desperate to have their youngest of 3 daughter home with them before they get to a place with age where they can't enjoy her. Um, 12, 8 more years isn't gonna do it. And then you've got, I didn't tell you this, but Hannah's got a boyfriend that she's known for since they were young. Uh, he, he's now her fiance. Well, 3 weeks ago, on their Saturday visit to Hannah, all of them, he told the family and Hannah that he's been diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. His name is Mike. He's a wonderful guy. I really enjoyed being with him. He was in the meeting, and he made a plea to the governor and wept when he did, that he and Hannah are desperate to have children, get married and have children, and that there's only one way that can happen is she's out of prison. So we have those elements combined with the fact that she's made financial restitution. She has made every other form of rehabilitation come to life. And for her, she's done more. The warden speaks highly of her. Everybody speaks highly.
And there's something about Oklahoma. It's maybe widely thought of as a back roads,
Yeah.
hick state, and in addition to the fact that they now have the world champion Thunder there. Remember when we were whipping through all these electoral maps and all this, and talking
Yep.
about the population centers, that Oklahoma was the only state that every county went to Trump.
It's completely red.
Completely red, as red as their soil, as you might say.
Yep.
And there was an article in the Dallas paper recently about Oklahoma being the only state with an outflow of more people coming from Texas than coming from Oklahoma to
Yeah.
Texas. And it used to be, it was very traditional that people would move from Oklahoma to Texas,
Right.
yeah, especially to Dallas, they're
Right.
going to go big time, and it's
Yeah.
not that far over the border and all that.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean,
anyway,
I can tell you, there's no way for me to have a better impression of what Sammy and I experienced on Tuesday. We drove up on Monday afternoon, Monday evening. Sammy and I went over to the bombing memorial. If you've never been to Oklahoma City, to see the Murrah building bombing of Tim McVeigh back in 1995, it will change you. And it humbled us. It was emotional. It was moving. It was incredible to see what they've done with that. They tore the whole building down. And most of us, the image that we have is of the front of it being blown to shreds. We stood right where that truck parked and blew up. And now that the whole space from which that building set is the memorial, which is about a 40-yard, 50-yard, inches deep water.
right.
It's like a pool, but you can walk on it. They've got all the chairs for 168 victims. They're metal chairs with the names on the front. big chairs for adults, little chairs for children. They have on the towers at both ends. They have on the one closest to where the truck blew up, it says 9:01 a.m. On the other one, on the opposite side, on the south side, it says 9:03, and they have plaques that say this is to honor what was before and what was after. It happened at 9:02, and so it's just an amazing trip.
And you know,
for
that bombing would have never happened if it hadn't been for the Branch Davidian
Yeah,
crisis that happened
Waco.
in
Yeah.
Waco. And
Yeah, that's true. So I just want you all to know that we see this from a media company standpoint, we see this as doing something beyond what we would normally do, and that is to right a wrong. And we will not stop until that happens. And we don't. There's nothing for us to benefit from it. It doesn't matter to me if we have one more reader or one less reader about this. Jeff's right. It has consumed me and my time, and because there's a lot to do, and all morning I've been working on it. So there's a ton to do as we prepare now to see if we can get in to see Abbott or Abbott's group of people that can make this a pardon happen because
and
Hannah
you know,
deserves
we
it.
talk so much about bias in media, but this has nothing to do with bias in media. This is like when the Pentagon Papers came out about Washington. This is about investigative journalism.
Yeah,
That's the key thing about what media is supposed to do. Is supposed to be reporting the news, and if people don't know the news, you investigate the news. But what you don't do is interpret the news.
that's right. That's exactly right. So we have done an enormous amount. When I tell you enormous amount of work, there's no way to describe how much work we've done. And the first step of meeting with Governor Stitt went perfect as far as we were concerned. But that's like, as I told everybody, it's like winning the first round of a playoffs. You know, that's not your goal. You're happy, but that's not your goal. So we got more work to do, and we will keep you informed. But I just want to say uh, to my friends in the court system here, shame on you guys for doing this, and then now having too much pride, too much bitterness, whatever it is, to not recognize, regardless of what you believe of somebody after a 3-day trial. Uh, but Hannah's paid the price, and she's achieved in 2 months the 4 years that you recommended. So for you to be opposed to her getting out now is unconscionable to me, and we will pursue it. And if it means losing friendships, then so be it. It's time to get her out of prison, and so we will keep you informed. And one last thing I'll say: the victims, I have had communications with the victim who was injured most. She now lives up in Chicago. There's bitterness and anger and hatred that still exists there, uh, and so we're mindful of them. We wanted to quote them and write about them and tell their story, but they didn't want to speak to us. So they're now engaged because they know the efforts we are making. And but the compassion for victims is there for sure. At the same time, if bitterness and anger and the lack of being willing to forgive or move forward isn't possible, then I'm left with, in my role, I'm left with compartmentalizing that compassion and that hurt for them because the enough has been paid. The price has been paid, and it's time to make this right. And I think the local folks here, who two of them are elected officials, are going to pay a price at some point. They're going to pay a price, and I don't really want that on them, but they're going to pay a price politically because there is enough money and focus and attention from a lot of people in Texas and in Oklahoma to get this addressed and done right. So there you have it. Sammy, any comments from you on your trip?
It was a great trip. I loved meeting the governor. I wanted to you gave the governor his flowers. I also wanted to speak on Shane. He was a very nice man. I wanted
I
to
gave him his flowers.
like you talked highly of.
Oh,
Accolade,
oh, oh, yeah,
accolades,
got
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
So yeah,
wanted
I
to
just
talk
wanted
about Shane's, yeah, the
yeah,
state senator. Yeah,
very nice man.
yeah.
But all in all, it was a great trip. Felt very productive, and like you said, we won the first round of the playoffs, just like the Cowboys. Just gotta pull through. So
Yep. Sammy, the governor took to Sammy and wanted to know what he was doing, how old he is, a little bit about Sammy's story. The governor said, "Well, let's go take some pictures." So they went to a place where the governor it's set up so that the governor could take pictures with constituents and visitors. So they did that. And we have a ton of pictures of that and the memorial. Sammy, the governor gave Sammy a little memento coin that
hmm
is about the governor's objectives and attributes and characteristics. And
In some of those pictures you sent, the massive paintings, you're flanked by Mickey Mantle on one
yeah,
side and Will Rogers
yeah,
on
it
the
was
other
that was
side.
in another room. But Shane Jett is the state senator that helped us with all of this as well, and couldn't be more grateful to Shane Jett. The whole process, the governor's staff, his aides, his attorneys, all of them weren't they, Sam?
it was
Were just
amazing.
it was amazing.
Everybody was listening, asking questions.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And the last thing, Sammy and I, matter of fact, we went to the memorial and then we walked
Yeah,
from our hotel. We walked to the memorial. We walked back and we wanted to get something to eat. So I said, Sammy, we were dressed like two dads and two a dad and son just play basketball. But we wanted to have a steak, so we went into the Magnolia right there in downtown Oklahoma City and had a nice steak. But it was downtown Oklahoma was as dead and quiet as any downtown, beautiful and clean. It was
downtown
super
Dallas is
clean.
dead at night too on a
Well, no, this
weekday.
wasn't night. This was like
Oh,
at 5 o'clock
This is
when
when
people were letting
people.
out.
okay.
Yeah,
This is when people should be going home,
yeah.
and the next morning nobody
It
was going
was,
to work.
yeah, we were there at rush hour time and it was, we asked some guys next to us, what, is it always this quiet? And they said, yeah. I mean,
That's the plights of downtowns.
well, yeah, it's pretty sad, but that's a high rise, they got a landscape, a skyline, and it was incredibly quiet. So, and our hotel experience was great. Anyway, so there you have it. Thank you, Chuck. Sammy, they all took to Sammy. Matter of fact, at the end, we had a pre-meeting before the governor, and then we had a post-meeting after the governor. In that post-meeting, Mr. Dillard, who's a wonderful man, looked over at Sammy. There a whole bunch of us in the room. He looked over at Sammy, and he said to Sammy, or asked Sammy, three of the most important words I believe you can ever ask another human being. That is, what's your opinion? And so Sammy just didn't have to stutter. He didn't stutter. He didn't waffle. He just said, "This is what I think." And I was proud, and they were grateful, and they appreciated that. So we had a really wonderful
Nice.
experience. So more to come. All right, that was a little longer than I anticipated.
Yeah,
So
well,
let's jump
these
right into
some
it.
of these are they're soft topics.
Yeah,
We're,
so we want to talk real quick about Alligator Alcatraz. Now, I'm telling you something. That's a pretty cool name, Alligator Alcatraz. So we now know that in Florida, out on some, I think it's a landing strip. An isolated airstrip in Florida Everglades that Trump has visited, but that DeSantis has made a
and that thing went
detention
up in just
center.
a matter of
It
days.
did.
Yeah,
It did, and it's going to cost 400 something $1 million to operate because we hear the left say, "Oh, these immigrants are going to be thrown in these hell holes, and it's a concentration camp and all this other BS." In fact, Alligator Alcatraz. Let me tell you the amenities if I can find it here. Um, the site can currently house 3,000 people in dormitories that are surrounded with chain link fences topped with barbed wire. It can be expanded to house 5,000. Yeah, protesters have decried the facility as inhumane makeshift prison camp. Um, and let's see. So just listen to it. It says we're surrounded. The camp is surrounded by miles of treacherous swampland, and the only way out is really deportation. Trump said, because if you try to run, it's like Alcatraz out in California and San Francisco. You try to run in this Alcatraz, you're gonna have some legs
and that's
missing.
part of the key about why it's successful is because of the location, and there's going to be modeling done after this, and
Exactly.
you got to put it in similar areas.
Yeah, exactly. So the officials, as Jeff just said, in a matter of days, 8 days, they erected heavy duty tents, trailers, temporary buildings as part of the state's muscular efforts to help carry out Trump's administration crackdown. The center is estimated to cost $450 million a year, with the expenses incurred by Florida and reimbursed by FEMA. Inside of it, rows of bunk beds are surrounded by chain link fencing where migrants can be housed for days, weeks, or months. Listen to this. Officials say detainees will have access to medical care, 24/7 air conditioning, and a rec yard, as well as support from attorneys and members of the clergy.
There
The-
are Texas prisons. I'm not talking about camps like this. There are
yeah,
Texas prisons that aren't completely air conditioned.
yeah, no, Hannah was telling me the other
Texas
day,
prisons.
matter of fact, Hannah, when Sammy and I were leaving, we'd gotten in the car, we were driving out of Oklahoma City. Well, yeah, my phone, I keep it on just the buzz, so I don't always hear it. Well, I don't hear it at all, but I didn't feel the buzz. But Sammy happened to look down at my phone, and it was at Hannah. So Hannah was calling us from prison, so I was able to tell her, give her the update. But Hannah has shared with me that the prison she's in gets hot. Matter of fact, she said that the other day. I said, "Don't they have air?" And she said, "Yeah, but it doesn't really work that well." So these guys, the left, when the left says to you that they're being thrown into gulags and being tortured, they're staying in something that is as nice as any illegal criminal, whatever you want to call them, has in the world. Um, and I'm these days, whether it's the Hannah case or other things going on in the country, no more feeling like I need to be Mr. Nice Guy in these conversations. This stuff is exactly what needs to be happening. And if you don't like it, don't come here illegally. And if you want to get out, as Trump and Noam have said, if you don't want to go to Alligator Alcatraz, then deport yourself.
Did you see the clips of Trump trying to explain how to avoid
Uh-uh.
alligators? This is you don't just go straight. You see
Oh,
this way.
zigzag.
You do this.
Trump's telling the criminals how to get away from. That's too funny. He's the funniest president we've ever had.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to be surrounded by alligators, go to where you came from.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Alcatraz?
We did it.
All
We
right, bud.
whipped it.
Random thoughts for today. You got some?
Yeah, I got the 5
All
I'm
right, let's
required to
hear it.
have. Here we go.
Let's hear it.
You're never wrong to do the right thing. Kind of what you're
Say
doing.
again.
You are never wrong to do the
Yeah,
right
that's
thing.
right. That's
By
right.
the greatness of Mark Twain.
Yeah.
I would rather go quail hunting with Dick Cheney than ride in a car with Ted Kennedy.
Yeah, that's a great quote.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're the smartest man in the room, it's time to find a new room.
That's right.
And at what age does something not good for children become good for adults?
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Like smoking or
Yeah.
say pornography or drinking or whatever. Is there a point at which any of that stuff is good as you get older?
Well, I think a little moderate drinking's okay.
Well, yeah, moderate. That's
Yeah.
the key word. But it's we don't keep it away from kids because we're
Right.
afraid they won't
Right.
they'll be moderate. We keep it away
Exactly.
from them so that they won't become alcoholics.
Exactly.
Very good quotes.
Thank
Very
you.
good random thoughts. All right. And he said, we've got just a couple of minutes here, real quick. I've been moaning and groaning about these rogue judges who are able to make decisions, in some dark, shallow, hollow courtroom in Boston that impacts us here in Texas and others across the world. The SCOTUS Supreme Court came out and said this week that can no longer be the case. There are ways to get around that by having class action lawsuits and that sort of thing, but no longer can a dopey judge in some liberal haven tell Trump that he can't do what Trump was voted in to do, and that is excellent for our country. And the only other thing I'll say here is, I don't know if you read the story, but Katanji, I think is her name, Jackson, the last one that was nominated and was confirmed to be on the Supreme Court, which was a DEI hire, if there ever was DEI. And Joe
And there
Biden made
was.
that perfectly clear. I'm going to put in a black person and a woman. Well, you can't get any more DEI than that. Not that I have a problem with either one of those, but that's the basis on which he nominated her. And she made a ruling not a ruling, but in the dissent of this, that Amy Barrett, another one who's not been there very long, ripped her to shreds.
And called it rhetoric.
And that we need not pay any attention to that, because basically Jackson was saying we can never allow the executive branch to become empirical, which means overarching and
Right.
sovereign, at the same time, she's advocating that the judicial branch be that.
Right.
And so Barrett ripped her.
And Barrett says, you're decrying an imperial executive
Yeah,
while embracing imperial judiciary.
exactly.
Quick thinking on the feet there.
Very good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've got that happening in our country, and I think more of that stuff's going to come. All right, we got a rhyme today.
We got a rhyme today.
All right, let's hear it.
You got it on page 1. It did appear in yesterday's Waxahachie Sun, both printed and online. I read it to a little crowd sitting around drinking coffee after racquetball at the YMCA, and it was
Yeah.
very well received. So I was
Cool.
enjoying that too. And it was written on July 4th of 2020. It's called Uncle Sam's Birthday. We all have a birthday. Today's my Uncle Sam's. A family and fireworks. I am a big fan. All nations and tongues, from the old to the young, each has its own way to play, and all a ton of fun. We're not as much different as some make us out. Let's try to be happy and not so much to pout. Our heart pumps us blood, our lungs give us air. In all that you do, just try to be fair. Now, this year's an odd one, a strange one, no doubt. So hold tight to your honey bun, enjoy a bratwurst with some kraut. Nothing lasts forever. That's not hard to believe. Don't try to be clever, figuring out what's up God's sleeve. That will be done, the Lord's Prayer doth say. This surely applies on our country's birthday.
Amen. Very good.
Thank you.
Jeff's one talented poet. I'm telling you, I read your poem for Monday's newsletter.
Like
Yeah,
that Freedom Story?
I do.
Yeah.
And we have a news every Tuesday. I mean, I'm sorry. We're now on Substack.com under Grit and Good News. If you go there and you want to subscribe for $5 a month, you get all kind of content from us. You get notified of that content every Monday morning in an email with an email and on Friday. So we both have worked diligently to make sure we have all of our content up there and it's fresh and it's pertinent. So tomorrow's about the 4th of July because it's on the 4th of July. And then on Monday, we have some things to say about the big, beautiful, quote, big, beautiful bill that I think is right now. They're debating it, have been around the clock. The Dems are now playing games with it, but it'll be approved. It's just a matter of whether or not all of it's what we want.
So yeah, when you see what I've written on that and how different it is from
it's good. It is.
I always take a little different approach.
Yeah,
than he does.
We don't want you to read a poem that's about what I've written in my column. So
Right.
I only give Jeff the headline of my column, the topic, and then Jeff goes from there. And I write, and in this case, you'll see that I've got some issues with the big, beautiful bill, not the issues of taxes and the great things for our country, but I have some issues with the government becoming a little bit bigger than it should. All right, let's do our day in history.
Day in history.
Yep.
Pulled a little 10 and 1. Got a couple of bonuses.
10 and 1 today.
We have 9 different choices. I have 2 bonuses.
Wow.
And
all right, boys, y'all better get ready.
Here we go.
And girls.
General George Washington took command of the Continental Army at Cambridge, Massachusetts.
1810.
1785.
1775.
What?
Missed it.
1775.
It's in the Revolutionary.
What happened in 1776?
The country became a country.
You can have a president of a country before the country's a country?
He wasn't as president.
This was the Continental Army. This was not a country. This was all the.
That's where I goofed.
Yeah.
I was thinking he would be president when he did that.
I went 78 too. I thought it would be after the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
Here we go. The pivotal 3-day Civil War battle of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania.
Sammy, go ahead. No.
It ended in a major victory for the North as Confederate troops failed to breach Union positions during an assault known as Pickett's Charge.
That's what I was going to say, 1865.
1865.
1863.
Oh, I was going to say, hey, I'm good.
Yeah.
You're getting there.
You'll take it.
During World War II, Soviet forces recaptured Minsk, M-I-N-S-K, Minsk, from the Germans.
1944.
1920.
Sam, you're on fire, dude.
What was it?
44.
Let's go.
You got a bonus.
I got He
pulled
said
that
World
one.
War II, Dad.
Oh, you did?
No,
He-
he did. Why'd you say
I didn't
20?
Yeah,
hear
you're
that.
homing in on World War II now,
Yeah, I
aren't
didn't
you?
hear you say World War
Yeah,
II.
yeah.
Oh,
It started with Pearl Harbor in 41,
yeah.
then in 45. Whenever you get a World War II, you just say,
Yeah, very good.
when in that war did that happen?
Very
Good
good,
job.
Sam.
The first carrier strikes of the Korean War, where my dad served in the Aleutian Islands
Hmm.
in the Air Force. The first carrier strike of the Korean War took place as the USS Valley Forge and the HMS Triumph sent fighter planes against North Korean targets.
All right.
I don't 1954.
1949.
1950, you understand when the Korean War happened,
Good,
too.
Sam.
You're working it.
Sammy's becoming a war expert.
Singer Jim Morrison of The Doors died in Paris
Yes.
at age 27, tragically young.
Yes. Sonia and I were just talking about this because there's a movie about him, of the Doors.
I'll go Sonia's birthday, 71, 1971.
I want to say 82.
Samuel Brooks is on fire. The
Was-
bonus
was
is in effect.
Another one?
No way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow.
And speaking of which,
Wow.
we saw this. Have you seen on Netflix this deal about the train wreck poop story?
Uh-uh.
It's about uh, the ship that it had a failure and all the power was out,
Yuck.
and then the plumbing was
Yuck,
out.
yuck,
And
yuck.
then there's another series about other train wreck movies, and there's the train wreck stories of the 1999 Woodstock. There's 3 different
Oh.
versions. It is crazy.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
bet.
remember that
Yeah,
going
I
so
don't
crazy.
either.
Wow. Here we go. Dan White convicted of voluntary manslaughter in the shooting death of San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and supervisor Harvey Milk
Yeah.
was sentenced to 7 years and 8 months in prison.
1979.
1978.
Sam is burning
Did
up
he get
over
another
there.
one?
Yes.
Did I really get a bonus?
Your bonus is in
Dang,
effect.
Oh my
Sammy.
God.
That's 6. He's got 6 points just in 3 questions.
What is happening?
You better go play the lottery.
Yeah.
President Ronald Reagan presided over a gala ceremony in New York Harbor that saw the relighting of the renovated Statue of Liberty.
I'm going to say 1984.
86.
86. That might have been the anniversary of 100 years of when we got it from the French.
Yeah, it might be.
So I got another bonus.
Yeah.
You got another bonus.
So you got 8 just in those.
The USS Vincennes, Vincennes, shot down an Iranian air jetliner over the Persian Gulf, killing 290 people aboard.
98.
91.
88.
Oh, you
Still
got it
got
right,
it.
Sam. Look at Sammy. How many more we got?
One more.
One more.
Novak Djokovic, it's with a DJ as we know, won his first Wimbledon, beating defending champion. There's a bonus for this one too. Who did he beat? Defending champion.
He beat Roger Federer in, I would say, 2002.
That's your year? I was gonna say that. I'll do 2001.
2011, Rafael Nadal.
Oh, I was 4 and 5. Sammy
Oh,
rocked the house today.
wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
And
11 and
You
2.
bested the
that's
big
your
man.
best yet. All right.
Y'all ain't beating
So
that.
thank you for being with us. We will be back on Tuesday. We hope and pray that you will have a very happy, fun, safe 4th of July. And specifically, yeah, Sonya says The Doors is an awesome movie. She asked me to see it. But specifically, we ask that you be careful. Firecrackers for some are fun. I don't really care for them, but they're fun for some. And I just say, please be careful. And please, 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 as a dog dad and pet lover, please be mindful of those pets, that it freaks them
Oh
out.
my gosh.
And we'll have to snuggle up with and put our
Yeah, we will too.
2 chihuahuas under the covers. Well, they'll go anyway, but please be careful and have a good time.
Yeah,
That down
please.
on Cedar Creek Lake, that is big free
Yeah.
legal
Please.
firework territory, and
Yeah.
it'll be crazy.
It's
And
crazy.
I love I love my Roman candles, but we're not gonna have any kids this year,
Yeah.
and I may not buy any. I don't know.
Well,
Do
anyway.
not, please do not drink and drive,
Yeah,
people.
please
Please.
don't. So we'll fill you in more on the Hannah Dillard case as we move along, full steam ahead. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday. Go to substack.com, search Grit and Good News. You'll find us there. It's very easy to subscribe for $5 a month. We'd be honored if you would join us. And thank you, everybody, for being here.
And have a great day and put a smile on somebody's face today.